producer sidekick. He's a voice on the show, but his primary job is producing and engineering the show, making sure all the commercials play, making sure that, he throws in a sound effect here and there, chiming in when necessary. And that's wonderful. I'm very happy to have that. Sam Yarnell is going to be in a sort of sidekick role beginning August 28th. And he will be filling in hosting for me when needed as we continue to develop and grow this show into year 2 of the program, which I'm really looking forward to. So Sam will hang out with us for the second hour of the show tonight. I don't know. I should have just said, hey, hang out with us for all 3 hours tonight. But he'll be with us for the second hour of the show tonight. Jason Cole will join us in that second hour as well. It's going to be a crowded house with Jason Cole, Sam Yarnell, me, Charles wandering around a studio aimlessly somewhere in here. See, now I just went and ruined it by making you sound like Mr. Magoo, didn't I? Yeah, I kind of did. See, that was a jerk. Yes, indeed. Just farting around. Exactly. I'm in a crappy mood. The Yankees got shut out tonight in Atlanta 5. Now, I know the Braves are really good. And now having seen them in person over the last few days, because they beat up on the Mets this weekend. They won one game against the Mets this weekend, 21-3. It was part of a doubleheader sweep. They beat the Mets 21-3. Egads. And they're just putting a hurting on the Yankees right now, which has me feeling something like this.
Damn you all to hell!
Yeah. That's how I'm feeling right now. 5-0, Yankees get shut out. I don't know. Here's what I can't understand. Is the Yankee farm system that depleted, that bad, that they can't find anybody to start, that they keep putting Luis Severino on the mound? How can you continue to put a guy on the mound that is as bad as Luis Severino has been for the last 2 months? Not a couple of days, not a couple of starts. He has been unwatchably bad. Nope. Unwatchable. Tonight, 5 runs over, 5 innings. His last start, 2 innings, 4 earned. Start before that, 4 innings, 5 earned. Start before that, 3 1/3, 9 earned. Start before that, 5 2/3, 3 earned. By the way, that was against the Royals. So that's his last. Yeah, that's his last 5 starts. Against the Angels, let's see, 6. Oh, do they make it this hard to read a game log? Are you effing kidding me right now? 6 innings, 1 earned. Start before that against the Orioles, 7 earned. Against the Cardinals before that, 7 earned. I mean, he's been as bad as you could be basically for 2 months. And they just keep putting him out there. I mean, it is a guaranteed loss when he starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last 8 starts, he's been non-competitive in 7 of them. Non-competitive. And you cannot afford to just simply give away baseball games at this stage of the season if you're the Yankees. You can't. Yet that's what they're doing right now. They're literally just saying, we seed this day that Luis Severino is going to start. We are seeding this game. You can have it. Whoever we're playing against, just know you've got one gimme every series if Luis Severino is in the rotation. And God knows that if I go look for Aaron Boone post-game sound right now, he'll be talking up the fact that, well, he only made 2 bad pitches in the game. They just both happened to be home runs to Marcell Ozuna and Ronald Acuna Jr. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Always that chipper upside. And then I got these clowns. And I'm sorry, tonight it was Clown Kingdom on the TBS broadcast. Because you had Ron Darling and Brian Anderson, and I love Curtis Granderson, but they're sitting there talking about, but Aaron Boone really is a good manager. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like, I get the fact that he was a broadcaster at one time and you're all part of this fraternity, and some of these guys might have played with him in the case of Grandy and all that stuff, but you cannot sit there and try to defend what has been a horrendous managerial campaign. Horrendous for Aaron Boone. There's no way he could be brought back. And you want to know one of the names I heard brought up today as potential Yankee manager? Charles, this one shocked me. They're talking about Willie Randolph. If you're bringing back a former Yankee to manage this team and it's not Don Mattingly, I'm not even watching next year. I'm done. Like, Willie Randolph? The mid-2000s called. They want their manager back. Willie Randolph? Thank you. I'll be here all night. Maybe. If I don't keel over in the middle of the show first. Do you know how hard it is to watch your favorite team? Especially when it's a team. The Yankees are 500. The Yankees are 60-60. Soak in that for a second. Marinate in those juices. They are a 500 baseball team on August 15th at 10:09 p.m.
Damn you all to hell!
The phone number, if you want to be a part of the show, is 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can text the show. Feel free to do so. 888-670-8549 from anywhere in America. 888-670-8549. Jason Cole next hour. We're actually guest free for the first hour, which is unusual. We usually always have a guest in the first hour of the show. We are guest free tonight in the opening hour of the program. So we'll have a plenty to get into. I had a whole monologue planned. I had a whole first segment all planned tonight. I had a whole first segment planned. We're going to do that in the next segment, though. We're just going to push it back because I had to vent on the Yankees because now I'm done with it. I don't have to talk about the Yankees anymore. We can move past the bad part of the night. James in Detroit, Michigan's already texting the show. It says, hey, Jason, in your opinion, are the Atlanta Braves, as we speak on August 15th, the team to beat in all of MLB? Granted, the postseason is an absolute different story. Seems like they currently are to me, James in Detroit. Here's what I'll say about the Braves. They are a prolific hitting team. But if we have learned anything about postseason baseball, prolific hitting teams tend to be the ones that go out early. We've seen so many prolific hitting teams that bite it in the postseason because the old adage is great pitching beats great hitting every single time. But is there great enough pitching anywhere in the National League to stop the Braves? I'm not sure. Look at that. Walk the dog right up to the edge. Beautiful. Gary Sanchez hit a grand slam for the Padres tonight. There you go. I don't think it's set in stone. Hold on one second, Charles. What? What am I going to do with that? In between segments? No, could I have a Diet Coke, please? Thank you.
And I need a reservation with Derek for 5 o'clock.
You what?
I need a reservation for us and Derek at 5 p.m. at Gastro Problem Friday.
It's cutting it close, but okay.
No, you can cut out early and do the game.
Okay. Okay.
Then I can either...
Diet Coke. Diet Coke. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I'd be shocked if Boone, Charles, I'd be shocked if Boone was brought back. I'd be really surprised. Okay, it's a really scary thing when I went to go look up X.com, like Twitter. And the second I type in X, the first thing that pops up in my like history thing is XXX. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. That's all I need. Robin Lundberg. Wow. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. People on the video stream have no idea what I'm mumbling right now. Because on the video stream, they can't hear the music. This, again, is part of the problem, that the technical issue that I have to solve, which is the ability for the audience to hear you and the ability for the audience to hear the music coming in and out of the breaks. I have not figured out how to navigate those waters. I'm just happy we're on the air. Quite honestly. I'm just glad we're able to do a show. They just think I'm nuts. Yep. They just think I'm nuts. That's absolutely what's going on there. Boy, oh boy. I'm trying to get on the show, and I sent a note to him today. I'm friends with former Major League Baseball umpire Dale Scott, who was an umpire for a long time, retired a few years back. And Dale Scott is a guy that I love to talk about the world of umpiring with. And I can relate. I umpired high school baseball. I've umpired like semi-pro baseball. I've never umpired at the major league level, but I've called balls and strikes. I know what it's like to actually do it and deal with the jerk parents who sit there and yell from the stand. That's not strike. Have you ever umpired? No. You ever do anything like that, Charles? Officiate? I'll tell you what. I've done two weird things. Well, I won't call it weird. Umpiring baseball is not weird. But a friend of mine, when I lived in the Bay Area briefly, a friend of mine was like in charge of the officials for the state's volleyball officiating. And he was like, "Hey, you got some spare time? You want to make some money? I'm gonna teach you how to become a volleyball referee." And I did it. And I did like several matches, and I'll never do it again because as big a jerks as baseball parents can be, volleyball parents are even worse. Not doing that. Baseball play-by-play is the greatest. Baseball play-by-play. Did you do it with our friend Justin Barbosa? Because he's a play-by-play guy. That's what he does. No. Okay. I'm just checking. What'd you say? Oh, yeah. Baseball's kind of easy to do solo, I think. It is if you're somebody like me and you're used to being a talk show host and you're long-winded and you could turn a 2-minute story into an 8-minute story. Baseball's great for that. Even with them having sped up the game, there's still time to talk, in between pitches and kind of weave stories in and out, that sort of thing. Coming up in 12 minutes, because we don't have a guest in the first hour of the show tonight, I got a really fun topic we're going to get into. Well, let's just say it involves the NFL. That's all you need to know. We'll do that coming up. Baseball tonight. Yankees, as I mentioned, lost to the Braves 5-0. The Red Sox pick up a game on the Yankees in the wild card race, or go a game further ahead, I should say, because they were ahead of them. Red Sox now 4 clear of the Yankees on the loss side after beating the Nationals 5-4. There was a wild strike 3 call to end that game that Nationals fans are going berserk about. But Red Sox beat the Nationals 5-4. Cardinals, bottom of the 8th, lead the A's 6-2. Boy, you want to talk about a game that absolutely nobody cares about. Talk about ramifications for absolutely nothing. A's Cardinals could be the most meaningless game in baseball. And there's probably still 35,000 people at Busch Stadium because they have the most loyal fan base on the planet. Plus, this is a down year for the Cardinals, but let's be honest about it. The Cardinals are always going to be, they're always going to have a great and loyal fan base there because they just aren't bad for very long. Pirates, the Mets are losing to the Pirates tonight. It's 7-4 in the bottom of the 9th. Mets and Pirates battling for the same record basically this year. Amazing. Twins beat the Tigers earlier, 5-3. Top of the 8th, Rangers all over the Angels, 5-1. Yeah, and every time I see an Angels score like this, and I see them at 59-61. I mean, it's hard to be worse than the Yankees at 60-60, and the Angels actually are at 59-61. It is remarkable to think that this team hung on to Shohei Ohtani, and he's going to walk away for next to nothing at the end of the year. One of the all-time greatest blunders by a baseball organization. And we're so close to seeing it happen. Top of the 8th, White Sox trying to spoil things for the Cubs in the NL wildcard race. It's 4-3 White Sox there. Mariners on top of the Royals, top of the 8th, 8-5. Why does it feel like every game's in the 8th inning? 2-2 Diamondbacks and Rockies. Diamondbacks hanging on to slim wildcard hopes in the National League. Orioles trailing the Padres 5-0. Gary Sanchez doing some things tonight. A grand slam for Gary Sanchez tonight. What is Sanchez's numbers now with the Padres this season? I'm kind of curious. Hitting 219? That's Gary Sanchez. 16 home runs on the season for Sanchez, though, but he is hitting 219. Padres lead the Orioles 5-0. That game is in the bottom of the 2nd. Rays and Giants, 3rd inning, no score there. Brewers lead the Dodgers 1-0. Obviously, big implications there with the leaders of the NL Central and NL West hooking up. And the Guardians beat the Reds earlier 3-0. Astros over the Marlins 6-5. So the Astros pick up more ground in the AL wildcard race. And it was the Blue Jays beating the Phillies 2-1. Blue Jays also. So, I mean, look, this was the worst case scenario for the Yankees tonight. Everybody in front of them is winning, and they're losing. It's bad news, man. And the Twins won earlier tonight as well, 5-3, beat the Tigers. So that's all. That gets you all caught up on all the baseball for the night. NBA announced its in-season tournament deal, the NBA Cup. I mean, really? Is that the best you can come up with? You had 2 years that you've been talking about this. It might even be longer than that. And the best they can come up with is the NBA Cup. That's probably just until they find somebody to sponsor, and then it'll be like the NBA Uber Cup. the NBA Starbucks Cup. Come on, the 2K Cup. I like it. See, now that one I could go with. The NBA 2K Cup. See, but there's already a 2K college basketball tournament every year. The NBA 2K tournament. So you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. By the way, you might remember on the show, I don't know, last week we talked about a guy who had this crazy parlay of, hey, if Lionel Messi leads MLS in scoring and they win the League's Cup, that this guy would win like some insane amount of money that he placed a wager on. And people were like, oh, cash out now, cash out early and, win $900, or you can win, 4 or 5 digits, whatever it was. I don't have the story in front of me, so I'd have to go and look it up. Lionel Messi might just wind up leading MLS in scoring when all is said and done.
Messi driving forward. Messi from distance.
The guy did it again. He scored again tonight. Lionel Messi he's just insane. He cannot be stopped. Yeah, at some point, you do have to ask yourself, is it a good thing that he is shredding up the league? Here's the longer call of it.
Kristoff into the feet of Martinez, has time to turn into Messi, advantage play. Messi driving forward, Messi from distance! What can he not do? We are watching greatness!
I mean, look, I got to be honest. This was from like 30 yards, I want to say. And it was on the ground. It was a ground ball from like 30 yards. And the goalkeeper still couldn't stop it. I mean, who was in net? Ray Charles? Come on. I mean, some of the goals he's had have been great. This was not great. This was just bad goaltending. We're coming back. You got to see it. Yeah, it was easily 30 yards. And it was on the ground the whole time, and the goalkeeper still... And it wasn't even like he hit it that hard. Okay. Instead of the golden boot, it's the golden shower. I like it. I had to tweet about it. Like, that is straight up garbage. Banana. 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 Who? Sammy Arnell? He's going to be on Zoom. I'll have him on Zoom. So the only issue in that scenario is he will not be able to hear you, I don't think. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to hear you, but I have to... you know what? He might be able to hear you. I'll have to check on that. He actually might be able to. We could test it before the segment starts. Segment 4, hour 2. Yeah. Good to have you with us tonight. SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. Jets didn't have the greatest practice day. I know. You know it's a light sports day when I lead off a segment saying Jets didn't have a great practice today. So we're talking about practice. Like, who cares, right? It's one practice. It's not a big deal. What Dan Leberfeld, who I've known a long time, Lebs and I used to work together at SiriusXM. He's still there, actually, at SiriusXM. He does a great job on the Jets. He's the publisher of Jets Confidential magazine. And he wrote today, Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers walking off the practice field together, chatting after an uneven practice for the Jets passing offense. That was the headline basically on the Jets tape. By the way, has anybody watched Hard Knocks yet? Because I haven't. I know I said this. I still have not. I have never to this day watched an episode of Hard Knocks. Ever. Because I think it's propaganda. It really is. It's such propaganda. And people who watched the first episode basically reiterated that same thought, that it's just, yeah, we're going to make Aaron Rodgers look amazing. At the end of the day, that's basically what you're getting out of Hard Knocks. It's just a Jets PR tour, basically, for the next several weeks. But Rich Cimini of ESPN.com said the Jets starting quarterback had a rough practice on Tuesday. Per Cimini, Rodgers completed only 8 of 20 passes for the first team offense. The pass protection wasn't very good. There were a couple of drops. At one point, they say Rodgers threw 7 straight incompletions. You know it's a light sports day when that's where we're going for a headline today, right? It's about all you got. The rough day for Aaron Rodgers at practice. But it got me wondering. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Question of the night. Hit me up on the text line with this one tonight. On the text line. The phone number for that text line is 888-670-8549. From anywhere in America, anywhere at all, we will read your text. 888-670-8549. And I want to hear from you guys on this. And I know there's I'm sort of leading the witness here because I'm bringing up this topic after talking about Aaron Rodgers in a practice session today. What NFL player this season has the most pressure on them? Which player in the league this year has the most pressure on them? Now, coming off of that story I just talked about, you might think that I would say it's Aaron Rodgers. But as I sit here and sort of, run through my head all the different teams in the league and all the different scenarios that are out there, I don't actually think it's Aaron Rodgers that has the most pressure on him. And I know people will say, well, it's the Jets. It's a franchise that is essentially attached to the idea of losing and being a loser for so many years. And here's Aaron Rodgers deciding not to retire, but to basically force his way out by being I won't say the word, but, basically him and the Packers deciding to part ways. All right. I won't say he forced his way out. He's not James Harden. But obviously he didn't want to be there anymore, and they didn't want him there anymore. Who wants somebody to be there if they're not happy with each other? So the obvious thing would be to say, oh, well, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, right? I don't necessarily think it is. I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers. In fact, I don't even know if he has the most pressure on him in his division. I think Josh Allen's got more pressure on him. It's kind of a make or break year now for the Bills. Keeping that group as currently comprised together, coming so close in 21, only to go out early in 22. I think the pressure is on Josh Allen more than it's on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers already has a Super Bowl. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no pressure on Aaron Rodgers. If this thing goes up in flames, he could just say, hey, I attached myself to the Jets. What do you want? Nobody's going to blame Aaron Rodgers if this goes bad. They'll just say, typical same old Jets. They're not going to say same old Aaron Rodgers. They're going to say same old Jets. You can bring in different parts all you want. It's not going to matter. Same old Jets. Jets. Suck. So I don't think it's him. You want to go Lamar Jackson? If we're going by division, Lamar Jackson in the AFC North. The contract, the holdout during the offseason. They go and get OBJ to upgrade that offense. I think you can make an argument that the pressure is really on Lamar Jackson this year. 1-2 in his postseason career. Nothing to write home about. Nothing that gets you excited. You want to say Deshaun Watson? And a lot of times these are going to come down to quarterbacks. I know it sounds like it's a quarterback-centric conversation, but that's because it is. Because when you're talking about a team's hopes, essentially every team, it rises and falls with the level of play at your quarterback position. So Deshaun Watson, if we said AFC North, Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson, who has more pressure on him? Who are you going with? I'm going Lamar Jackson. And the reason is there's expectations in Baltimore. The Browns have sucked forever, much like the Jets. If it goes badly for the Browns, I'm just going to say same old Browns. They suck anyway. I don't think it's on Joe Burrow. The guy has been to a Super Bowl and a conference championship game in back-to-back years. And if not for a bad penalty taken by one of his teammates, the Bengals were back in the Super Bowl last year. So I don't go there. AFC South? Not really going anybody there. AFC West? Justin Herbert just got the monster contract. In fact, not only do I think Aaron Rodgers is not the player with the most pressure on him to perform this season. Not only do I think that, he may not even be top 5 on this list by the time we get done with it. He really might not be. I think Justin Herbert's got more pressure on him. Brandon Staley as well, but certainly they're going to fly as far as Justin Herbert takes them. Russell Wilson is the obvious. I'll go Russell Wilson certainly ahead of Aaron Rodgers, given the debacle that were the Broncos last year. And that's just the AFC. That's just the AFC, and I could probably find 5 guys. Josh Allen I'd put ahead of him. Lamar Jackson I'd put ahead of Rodgers. Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. I mean, I've got Rodgers 5th right now below those guys if you're talking about pressure. NFC, I don't know if we'll be able to finish it in this segment, but we could certainly continue it on the other side of the break. And if you guys got a suggestion, I want to hear it. 888-670-8549. Most pressure on a player this season. And I know some people could say Tua. The Tua thing is tricky because I think it's health predicated. You know, is there pressure on him to stay healthy and not, wind up with a concussion? Can you really say that's pressure? I don't know. It is, but I always say this: staying healthy is a skill. I don't think people, bad luck. Other than Grant Hill, I don't buy the idea of just bad luck when it comes to health. Guys take care of themselves or they don't. They know how to fall. They know how to put themselves in a position where they don't get hurt. They know where to gun it, and they know when to pull back on the throttle. We'll do the NFC. We'll save the NFC for the other side of the break. 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004 from anywhere in America. Text us as well, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. We do have a couple of texts coming in. I'll get to them coming up on the other side of the break. Coming up in the next hour, about 20 minutes from now, I'll be joined by Sam Yarnell. He'll hang out with us for the second hour of the show. He is my new second voice. I hate using the word sidekick. I just can't do it. I hate saying sidekick. But Sam's going to hang out with us for the hour. Starting 2 weeks from yesterday, Sam will be on the show every night for all 3 hours of the show hanging out with me. So he'll be with us in the next hour, about 20 minutes from now. We'll do the NFC on the other side in terms of players with pressure on them. That as the cash-in continues. What? Oh, good job. Yeah. His 9th Leagues Cup goal for Messi. 9th. It's absolutely insane. Jason McIntyre said, I got to wonder if Harden is so dug in, would he go play basketball in China this season? Really? Jesus. Huh. That's a good question. I know it's legal in Singapore. Officially, prostitution is illegal in mainland China. Now, officially. But, massage parlors, yeah. As home to the country's largest red light districts, Dongguan, Dongguan, Dongguan. How do you say that, babe? Dongguan? In China, Dongguan. Dongguan. It's the red light district of China. Okay. Oh, there you go. There you go. We might have to, you know what? We might have to talk about this, Charles. We might have to get into the red light district a little bit. The Bunny Ranch. I interviewed the guy that used to own the Bunny Ranch. He died like a couple of years ago. I actually interviewed him because Lamar Odom almost died there. So I interviewed the guy who owned the Bunny Ranch. Who owned, what the hell is his name? Bunny Ranch. What the hell is his name? Dennis Hoff. Dennis Hoff was his name. I interviewed him about 3 years before he died. It's like, man, you got the life. Owned a brothel. Let me get through the NFC first, then we'll visit this. No, you said the diehards. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Come on. Charles in charge. What are you doing? Anthony Pepe? Was he even on tonight, or did he take another night off? That was a serious question, by the way. Was he even on tonight? People fill it in for him. Jesus, Anthony Pepe. Anyway, coming up in 15 minutes, Sam Yarnell hangs out with us for the second hour of the show tonight. We'll get into what we were just talking about during the break in a second. First, I want to go through the NFC. We talked about in the AFC. I can make the argument that, you know, if we're talking about the player with the most pressure on him, and basically we're talking about the quarterback with the most pressure on him in this upcoming season, I could put four different guys ahead of Aaron Rodgers right now. Josh Allen would be one. Lamar Jackson would be another. Maybe Deshaun Watson, and certainly Justin Herbert. Of guys that really have profound amounts of pressure on them, considering the expectation levels, the fact they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, that sort of stuff. Oh, sure, absolutely. They're all playing catch up with him. He's the best young quarterback in the game, not named Patrick Mahomes, basically. I don't think that's an unfair statement at all. NFC, let's see. I think there's pressure on Daniel Jones of the Giants. One, there's always pressure on you when you're the quarterback of a team in New York, in that market, even though they play in New Jersey. And coming off the postseason last year where they won a playoff game, now they're back with Saquon Barkley. Jones gets the big contract during the offseason that a lot of people think was too big of a contract. Obviously, there's pressure there. You could argue Jalen Hurts, hey, can you do it again? Jalen Hurts, all right, great. You did it for 1 year. Can you do it again? And that team died in the second half of the Super Bowl last year when it mattered most. And trust me, there are going to be people just hanging that on them as long as they can. Great. It almost feels like in some regards, Jalen Hurts almost can't win this year. Because, they literally came up 2 quarters short of winning a Super Bowl. So anything short of that now is going to be viewed as a step backwards for the Eagles. A lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts. A lot of pressure on Dak Prescott. I don't know what the Cowboys do if he sucks again this year. They still got to pay him next year. You're always, I mean, again, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is always going to be a position that's filled with pressure. But I think particularly coming off the year last year, leading the league in interceptions, despite the fact that he missed a handful of games, there's a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott. That goes without saying. Jordan Love, I think it's sort of a gimme this year, as long as he isn't terribly suckerific. I think he's okay. The Lions as a team have a lot of pressure because they finished the year so strong, and there's so many expectations for Dan Campbell in that team. But I don't necessarily think it's predicated by the quarterback. Justin Fields is a guy with a lot of pressure because, again, he had a big second half last year. There's people talking about Justin Fields in an MVP conversation this year. How, I don't know, but they are. Kirk Cousins, always contract situation on the horizon for him. So that's obviously a guy with a lot of pressure. I'll be interested to see what Jason Cole thinks of this when he joins us in 40 minutes. He'll talk to us at 11:30 p.m. Eastern tonight on the show. Saints, Falcons. He has the 9th best odds to win the MVP. Wow. Tampa Bay, Carolina, no. Rookie quarterbacks. Todd, yeah, I got you. Seattle and Geno coming off last year, no. The expectations are kind of lukewarm in Seattle anyway. 49ers, Brock Purdy, certainly. I mean, that team is Super Bowl ready, Super Bowl caliber. The only question is the quarterback position when you talk about the 49ers. So Brock Purdy is certainly a guy with high expectations. So I definitely put him in that conversation. Matthew Stafford, no, he's already won a Super Bowl. Who cares? Kyler Murray's lucky if he even plays this year. It'll probably be middle of the season before we see him. So that's kind of where we are. The obvious pick would be Aaron Rodgers because of the meat grinder that is New York. But I don't think he actually does have a lot of pressure on him, unless it's coming from within. I think it's anything he does. If he got the Jets to the AFC Championship game, I mean, serious when I say that. I'm not trying to be, as Joe Biden would say, I'm not trying to be a wise guy here. I'm not. If you're a Jets fan and you got to the AFC Championship game this year and you lost, yeah, you'd be disappointed in the moment. But my God, it's such a giant leap and bound from where the Jets have been in recent years. You'd sign up for that. And you'd probably have Aaron Rodgers back for another year next year anyway. So, just some food for thought as it relates to the NFL player with the most pressure on him for the upcoming season. Now, I don't know why. Well, now I do know why, but I think it's kind of interesting. Charles asked me a strange question during the break that you don't get asked every day. He said, Jason, is prostitution legal in China? Or as Donald Trump would call it, China. And I said, I don't know. It's legal in some parts of the world. I travel to Singapore often. We have a, as my husband always reminds me, I love to remind the audience that we have a home in Singapore, where my husband's from, and prostitution is legal in Singapore. There's like a district where you go and women kind of, try to persuade you to come and hang out, that sort of thing. But you asked me, what other way can I put it? We're not even in safe harbor yet. It's only 10:52 p.m. Eastern. It's 7:52 in California. Our friends in Hawaii, our hearts are with you. It's a lot earlier than that there. So I gotta be careful with what I'm saying here. But you asked me that question. I said, why? And then you explained why you asked that question. And it dovetails into what we were talking about with James Harden, where he mentioned the idea of potentially Jason McIntyre at Fox Sports Radio and Fox Sports, who sidekicks on the Colin Cowherd show, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, suggested that he thinks James Harden may go play in China this year. if the what hits the fan in Philadelphia, as it looks like it might. And so Charles then made the leap to say, well, he would love playing in China, right? Go ahead, Charles. Come on. Come on. Don't get all bashful on me now. Yeah. So is it just, but I mean, are you going to strip clubs or are you getting lap dances or are you doing something more than that? You've never been to a strip club? Hold on, Charles. Okay. Uh-huh. Have you taken part in those extra activities in strip clubs? I don't believe you. Come on, all you need is a 20. So you brought up James Harden has a proclivity for strip joints. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the officially, prostitution is illegal in mainland China. However, there is a red light district. It's called Dongguan. It's sort of dubbed the Eastern Amsterdam, if you will, which means you could have a good time there. You could have a good time there. Hotels, massage parlors, karaoke bars. Yep. A lot of fun to be had. Sam Yarnell joins us for the next hour of the show. He's the new sidekick on the Cash In. We'll talk to him next. Celebrate good times, come on. Do, 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 do. Celebrate good times, come on. Definitely the NFL pressure stuff. The Yankee stuff. Yeah. First, third, and fourth segment, frankly. Did I put? No, I did AFC third segment. Yeah. There's a party going on. Right. And yeah, second segment, I just did baseball scores. Fourth, correct. There's a party going on right here. A dedication to this thing out there. Come on, you whore. Let's go. What is going on with this thing? to you being a part of the show and being a part of the. Yeah, there we go. A little applause from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have an absolute blast. And I can't wait for everyone to listen to all the stuff that we're going to cook up. Because there are going to be some takes flying. There are going to be some takes flying across these airwaves over the next however many months of football season.
Yeah.
I got them locked and loaded, Jason. Just you wait.
I'm sure you do. We were talking in the first hour tonight. I'm not sure if you caught any of the conversation, but we were talking in the first hour tonight about who's the NFL player with the most pressure on them this season. I was talking about it because there was this story today about how practice for Aaron Rodgers didn't go very well today. He had 7 straight incompletions. I'm like, who cares? It's Jets preseason practice. But it did make me start wondering who has the most pressure on him. And as I thought about it, I'm like, a lot of people might say Aaron Rodgers, but I got to be honest, I think I could find 8 or 9 guys that I would put ahead of him.
A dozen, at
least. I mean, I don't know about a dozen. That might be a stretch, but I could easily come up with 8 or 9 guys that I would put in the conversation ahead of him in terms of guys that are really going to feel the heat this year. You know, I said even in his own division, I think Josh Allen has more pressure on him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on. I mean, really? Look, I think all of them have more pressure for the mere fact that none of these guys have won Super Bowls, and Aaron Rodgers has. He's playing with house money.
So, but here's the thing. With Josh Allen circumstantially, I think that the commitment that the organization and the city, and I know I'm going to sound like a homer saying this, but the commitment that city has made to him has kind of eased some of that pressure, right? Like they know, or he knows, I should say, Josh Allen does, that entire community is going to back him for a decade to come, right? They've had one really, really good quarterback like this before, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Frank Reich was great. Oh, you mean Jim Kelly. Sorry. Say it? I like that.
But no, I don't think that the pressure's on Josh Allen. I think that there is another quarterback in the AFC East that has more pressure on them than Aaron Rodgers, but it's Mac Jones. Are we kidding?
Really?
This dude's he's done nothing. And he's finally going to have an offensive coordinator, quote unquote. That's the narrative we're pushing, right? He's finally going to have an offensive coordinator. He's got to do something this year. If he doesn't do something this year, the Mac Jones experiment is a bust.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean,
saw Bailey Zappi perform as well as Mac Jones did last season.
Yeah, but he wasn't. It's not like he was a top 5 or a top 10 pick. I don't know if there's that. I don't know if there's that kind of pressure.
He's a first-round quarterback.
Sure, he's a first-round quarterback, but late first round. I mean, that doesn't even count.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson was a late first-round quarterback.
Yes,
we all saw how that worked.
Well, the expectation level has risen. The guys that I would put ahead. I think Josh Allen does have pressure because I think with that kind of money and that security comes expectations. When you get that kind of contract, I think there are expectations. I think the Tua thing is kind of weird because a lot of it is health related. So it feels a little tricky sitting there saying there's pressure on a guy to not become a walking vegetable. You know, I kind of feel a little weird about that one. So I'm leaving that alone. Lamar Jackson, without question, a ton of pressure on that guy. He held out. They go and get OBJ in the offseason to upgrade the offense. I think there's definitely pressure on him. Deshaun Watson's a weird one. Because, I say the same thing about Deshaun Watson in some ways that I say about Aaron Rodgers. If the Browns suck, well, they're supposed to suck. They're the Browns. If the Jets go out in like the second round or in the AFC Championship game, you know, while Jets fans will be upset in the moment, I think Jets fans, when they look back at it, will be like, well, we probably got Aaron Rodgers for a second year. Yeah, we were close, and it's a hell of a lot better than we've been for a really long time. Right. We'll sign on for that. If the Browns suck, they're the Browns. They're supposed to suck. Joe Burrow, to me, he is the top tier, the top guy of the young crop of quarterbacks that we're seeing right now that aren't named Patrick Mahomes. Super Bowl and a game away from the Super Bowl in back-to-back years. I don't think there's anything really going on there. AFC South, Yes, I know Trevor Lawrence made it to the playoffs last year. They won a game. Great story. I think he'll be fine, but I don't think there's enormous pressure, especially in that market. It's Jacksonville.
Let me stop you there, though, and
Sure.
ask you an AFC South question.
Sure.
Anthony Richardson, how much pressure's on him?
Can I just say this? I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm so glad you brought this up because I was infuriated today when I saw this story that Anthony Richardson was shocked. Anthony Richardson was shocked that he's the number one ahead of Gardner Minshew. Can I tell you, that's the biggest red flag that I've ever heard for a young quarterback that's supposed to be your next franchise quarterback. And you know why? I don't want my quarterback shocked that he's the number one. I want him saying, hell yeah, I'm the number one. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Instead, he's like, oh, gee, shucks, me? Like the person in the audience on The Price is Right whose name gets called to come down to for the showcase showdown. Anthony Richardson, own it, man. You expected to be the starter. We sure as hell all expected you to be the starter unless you fell flat on your face. So and look, maybe he's trying to be humble. Maybe he's trying to, make Gardner Minshew feel nice, warm, and fuzzy about the fact that he's not going to be the starter. But at the end of the day, I don't want my quarterback sitting there saying, oh, wow, I can't believe they chose me. I had a 1 and 2. I had a 50-50 shot and they picked me. Gee, shucks. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You just got me going.
No, I think it's interesting, and I think what you're saying, right? I think he's putting that pressure. Well, actually, maybe he's alleviating that pressure from himself. I think the media kind of did put that pressure on him through the whole combine process and the draft. But it's just a very interesting storyline. I'm very interested to see how that one kind of plays out over the course of the season. Keep going with your list, though. We were where?
So that's AFC South.
South.
So that's the AFC South.
Okay.
AFC West. We've got
Gotta be Russ.
It's got to be Russ and Justin Herbert.
So much pressure.
Herbert just got the monster
Russ
deal.
Is a proven veteran, and now he's got the.
But he's won a Super Bowl.
Sean Payton.
He's won a Super Bowl though. I mean, you can't take it away. And it's not like Doug Williams or Brad Johnson winning a Super Bowl, where they kind of limped across the finish line at the end of their career and got one on the backs of great defenses. This is Russell Wilson, who was a prolific quarterback in Seattle on the back nine of his career. If it doesn't work out, some people might think it hurts his Hall of Fame credentials. We can talk about that with Jason Cole when he joins us in 22 minutes as a Hall of Fame selector. I don't know how much he's actually going to be able to give us on that, but we could ask him about it anyway. And I agree, there is a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson, and certainly more on him than on Aaron Rodgers. But guys like him and Herbert, I definitely think there's a lot of pressure on those guys. So that's just in the AFC. All these guys that I say have more pressure on them than Aaron Rodgers does. Then I go NFC, Daniel Jones with the huge contract in the offseason. It's New York. And he's always, now the comparison's always going to be made between what they do and what the Jets do with Aaron Rodgers. There's a real rivalry there again. And I think they play each other this season during the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. I think they do.
I'm not sure.
I know. I'm not.
I bet they do.
Yeah, they might. Dak Prescott,
one of those, right?
Dak Prescott is an obvious one, coming off the last season with all the interceptions.
Jason, Sam Howell. Oh my gosh. This is a kid who the Commanders decided he was, so good that they had to use all this draft capital on him and then sit him on the bench for a year behind, the corpse of Carson Wentz and I can't even remember, Taylor Heineke, right? He sat behind Heineken for a year. Come on. If Sam Howell doesn't come out in the first 5 games of the season and perform, he's going to, 1, get replaced by Jacoby Brissett, but 2, the Commanders should release him.
They got a better chance.
He's wasting a roster.
I got news for you. I got news for you. They probably got a better chance to win with Jacoby Brissett anyway. I think I love Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, I love Jacoby Brissett. So I'm just saying. And Jalen Hurts, really, anything short of winning a Super Bowl is a step backwards for that team. If you think about it, it's not fair, but it's the reality. And a lot of people are going to say, he was great for 1 year. I mean, it's kind of a crappy position to be in. It's like Derek Jeter winning a World Series in his first year for the Yankees. It's like, okay, it's all downhill from here. Now, it wasn't for him, obviously, and the Yankees went on to win many more, but it's kind of an interesting thing. We'll finish with the NFC on the other side of this because we're up against it here. The phone number, by the way, in this hour of the show, as it is in every hour of the show, 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. The text line is open as well, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. You can get me there. Jason Cole coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll come back. We'll finish the NFC with guys that have pressure on them. We'll get into some betting stuff as well with Sam. Stay with us. Sam, can you hear Charles? No, you don't hear Charles?
I cannot.
No, he doesn't hear you.
I can only hear you. I can't even hear the outro music or the intro music or anything.
Yeah, he can't hear anything. See, he'd be able to hear you if I did this. Talk now, Charles.
Okay, yeah. Sam, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear
now he can hear you. See, the problem is then it's echoey on your side, right, Charles? Test 1 2, check 1 2. Charles, Sam, go ahead and talk.
Okay, I can't hear Charles now, though. I don't know if anything changed.
You'll be able to hear him now. So go ahead, Charles. Talk to Sam.
Yeah, Sam, can you hear me?
I can hear him now. Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, yeah, when I talk, it's echoey, but everybody else is fine.
Oh, okay. You're saying but
right now.
For the will the audience hear echo or just you?
71-17.
First, I think that's tough. That's tough.
See, I don't know if it goes out over the air that way, or if it's just going to suck for you in your headset.
That's the thing. I'm not really sure.
That's Charles, who is now the full-time producer.
There was already going to be a target on this guy's back.
They had me with like a rotating. They had me with like a rotating cast of people, literally for the first year of the show. It was I had like 3 or 4. Oh yeah, I never had the same person like more than once.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was not fun. So I'm kind of thrilled to have Charles. Something Charles has never heard another man say about him before. I'm thrilled to have Charles. You like that, Charles? God, the Yankees are killing me right now, Sam. Fucking killing me, dude.
They're so bad. They're terrible, man. They're awful. Like they're worse than the Washington Nationals right now, and that's saying something.
They're so bad. And I don't know how you keep putting Severino on the mound. I don't know how. I mean, the guy has been non-competitive in 7 of his last 8 starts. Like, not just bad, just not even giving you a chance to win the game.
Every single one of their pitchers, besides the one who's going to win the Cy Young, is a corpse.
Clark Schmidt hasn't been bad. Schmidt had one bad start recently.
Been what they needed him to be, but that was a back of the rotation guy, right? Yeah. They've had no 2, they've had no 3.
Well, Rodon and Cortez, Rodon and Nestor being hurt has killed them. Ugh, so hard to watch them be this bad right now. God. All right, we're coming back.
Cash out, cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out, cash out.
The wins, the losses, and the stories behind it all.
Some fresh beats being provided by producer engineer Charles Carter. Why are you laughing at me, Sam Yarnell? Fresh beats, man. Is that one not what the kids say?
Broadcasting live on August 15th, 2012. It was
Charles does fresh beats work?
That was hilarious, Sam.
There you go. See, fair enough.
I love it, Charles. I love it.
Now they'll be able to gang up on me. So for those who haven't heard the news, this is Sam Yarnell. Sam is going to be the new, I see. Now, Sam, we got to talk about this for a second before we get to the rest of the NFC. Do you feel I feel awkward using the term. It's not a co-host thing, but it's. Do you feel comfortable with the word sidekick?
Sure.
See, I don't know if people get insulted by the word sidekick. I was asking Charles, would you like to be called sidekick?
People maybe not in my situation would, but as a soon to be 23-year-old man, I'm fine being a sidekick right now.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this isn't like your forever job or anything like that you're going to, forever be Stu Gotts on Dan, what's his name? The guy that's, the guy I'm talking about on ESPN. Dan Le Batard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said Dan Leberfeld, who's the Jets confidential guy. Dan Le Batard, you don't aspire to be Stu Gotts, even though Stu Gotts probably makes a fortune.
Ton of money.
Absolutely. But I think, I kind of feel you in sort of that Jason McIntyre role that he's got on the Colin Cowherd, on the Herd, and being able to fill in like Jason does for Colin, that sort of thing.
As long as you don't start talking about MLB teams trading draft picks, we won't have a problem, Jason.
Oh, Jesus. Who the hell talks
about? You can call me whatever you want.
Wait a minute. Who talks about that?
That was what Cowherd did. And then McIntyre was like, dude, MLB teams can't trade draft picks.
Well, it's also the same Colin. And look, I love Colin, but he's also the same Colin that, thought Dwayne Haskins was still alive. So,
right. Real cold streak going on over there in LA right now.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of tough. So I'm just saying. So to finish the thought on the NFC here, Jason Cole will join us, by the way, coming up in 13 minutes. Does a great job on all things NFL for Outkick.com. Their senior NFL writer there. Finish the NFC teams. We did the NFC East. NFC North, other than Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields, obviously. I mean, I think Justin Fields, Jordan. I don't see. I think as long as he doesn't fall on his face in year one, he's going to get a pass in year one.
Who's to say he won't, though?
But I mean,
I think not falling on his face puts all the pressure in the world on him.
Let's say they go 8-9. He throws 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions.
Okay, yeah, he's good.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Right, I'm saying he would have to fall on his face for it to be really bad, and I don't think he's going to. I think he can play.
I do too. I think by that same token, right? If you put that same stat sheet with Kirk Cousins, I'm kind of low on the Vikings this year. I'm on their under for their win total.
What's the Vikings win total?
Cousins passing yards.
What do you got for the win total on Cousins? I mean, on the Vikings.
I believe it was 10.5, 11.5, either 10.5 or 11.5.
That's a big difference.
I think they're a 9-8 team. I think they're an 8-9 team.
I mean, last year was such an it did feel like such an aberration last year when you look at their point differential and all that stuff.
Every single metric. They're the best team in league history in one-score games. Like, it's not something that's sustainable, right? We're baseball guys. We talk about sustainability with numbers all the time. It's definitely a number that's not sustainable. But
we'll hide you when I have Craig Kilborn
that you just mentioned for Jordan Love on Kirk Cousins this year. Everyone's happy.
Yes.
Like, I don't think Minnesota fans are picket lining against Kirk Cousins if he throws 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. All right,
we're going to hide you when Craig Kilborn comes on the show at some point during the season because he's a huge Vikings guy. Justin Fields, obviously. I mean, I think there's without question pressure there because the expectation level rose with the second half of last year. NFC South, nobody. There's nobody. I mean, really, there's nobody with pressure on him. NFC West.
Wait, real quick.
Brock
let's just
Purdy.
go back to the NFC South for a second.
Because
that division, no pressure, all potential. Like the Saints.
Yeah.
I love the Saints this year. I think the Saints are going to be great this year. And no one's talking about them at all whatsoever besides the Kamara suspension. That's the only Saints storyline we're getting. I love the Saints this year. Draft Chris Olave in fantasy.
There was a strategy to me having us start working together on August 28th. And the strategy was, I want to have that week before the start of the season to talk about unders and overs and fantasy and kind of get people ready for the start of the season, which is why I said, well, we could start them the week of NFL season, or we'll start doing this the week before. There was a reason why I chose August 28th as sort of the launch date for year 2 of the show. And that was obviously the reason why. Sam Yarnell, by the way, is hanging out with us on the show tonight, and he will be with us every night beginning August 28th. Really looking forward to it and having him hang out with us. We're also going to be integrating Splash Sports into the show. This is a really cool way for listeners of the Cash In to be able to take part in exclusive games for Cash In listeners, pick'em games, pools, knockouts, all of that stuff, eliminators. It's going to be great. We'll have more details on that coming up as we get closer to the start of the NFL season. So who then, if obviously not Aaron Rodgers, who would you say has the most pressure on them this year? We talked about all these guys. Who's, if you could choose one, who's the guy that you say has the most pressure on him?
You're going to say that I'm so crazy. And I'm only saying this to sound crazy, but I do believe it.
Don't say
Bijan
Sam
Robinson.
Howell. Bijan Robinson?
It's Bijan Robinson.
What?
And here's why. Bijan Robinson is being so highly touted. He's expected to be handed the offensive rookie of the year. Everyone's drafting him in the first round in fantasy, like the mid first round too, mid to late first round for a running back in a fantasy football era where we've gone to very wide receiver oriented fantasy teams. I think there's so much pressure on Bijan Robinson this year. And that's not to say that if he doesn't live up to it, he'll be the biggest letdown. I think there's opportunity for many other people to be bigger letdowns. But the buildup, when is the last time we had the buildup around a rookie running back like this? Saquon Barkley, I think, is the answer, as best I've been able to tell. And I just don't see Bijan living up to what Saquon had to live up to and did live up to. And it seems like we're putting more pressure on him than we did on Saquon. So,
and that's a division, and that's a division that's completely up for grabs.
Up for grabs.
I mean, anybody can win that. I wonder what the odds are. I haven't looked in Vegas. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. We got a few minutes here. Let me see. NFL, NFC South.
Saints are plus 130. I might be getting in on that during the next commercial break. Saints plus 130. Looks like some houses have the Falcons plus 230. Panthers are 4-1. And the Bucks are 8-1. That's actually, I think that's kind of a bad number on the Bucks. I'd probably, if I were booking them, I'd probably put them up closer to 10-1. I don't think the Bucks are going to win more than maybe half a dozen games this year.
You got it. So you're gonna put them under. So if I gave South,
let's be real.
So if I gave you Tampa Bay 5.5, you're taking the under. If I gave you 6.5, are you taking the under?
If you give me 6.5, I'll house the under. I think the under is a mega play.
Really?
Oh yeah, 6.5 for if I saw, and I haven't looked at the Buccaneers win totals.
I got it here. Hold on.
Yet, but
Tampa Bay win total 6. Jason Page 6.5.
6.5.
It's 6.5.
I might have to put some action on that under because I think the Bucks are going to be really. We think Baker Mayfield at this point in his career is going to do something. The last time Baker Mayfield did anything was when he had to travel across the country because he switched teams in the middle of the week, learned the Rams playbook in one night, and somehow led them to a win.
Got him a job. It got him a job. It got him a job in this offseason that one night, though.
That's right, but that's where he's at. He's not going to lead a team to more than 6 regular season wins. Who's their backup? Who is it, like Kyle Trask or something?
Plus 116 for over 6.5, minus 142 at under 6.5. I don't know. I might go against you on this.
Kyle
we
Trask
may have a lot of we may
like extra points for that. I knew Kyle. Kyle Trask, backup of this Buccaneers team. Come on, man.
We might have a lot of side action. You and I might have a lot of live action. We might have a lot of live action for two guys who are poorer than dirt. Jason Cole from Outkick.com on the other side. Stay with us. It's the Cash In.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing.
All right, I gotta get Jason on the horn.
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask, yes.
He's going to be starting for them by week 7. Just you watch. And that's how they're going to go over the win total.
Good to have you with me.
Yeah. Nowhere and lead them to like 4 wins in a row.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Did you pre-record with
No, Jason's going to be on with us.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and you should be able to hear him because because the difference is I dial up all the guests on my end. So you'll hear him because he's coming through on a pot that isn't muted. So you'll be able to hear him.
Oh, he's not zooming in. He's like actually
it'll be a call.
Using a phone.
Yeah, it'll actually be a call. Sometimes I will do guests by Zoom and stuff like that, but not in this instance. I'm not going to make myself insane tonight.
Oh, wow. Antonio Gates, Julius Peppers, and Andrew Luck are all up this year.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall, Jamal Charles, Haloti Nada, Eric Berry. Wow, it's all guys I grew up watching. Finally, we reached that point.
We finally reached that point. That's funny.
Oh, Janikowski. Wow, he's a lock. Right?
Oh, God, yeah, he's definitely a lock.
He's a lock.
All right, let me get him on the phone. Broadcaster.
What time do we come back? 30?
Yeah. Come on, bleeding Christ. Jason Cole. Are
you still hear me, Jason?
Huh?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Can you call me back in 30 seconds?
Yep, 30 seconds. But
Hello?
Were you able to hear him, Sam? Okay.
Yes. I heard him say, "Can you call me back in 30 seconds?"
Cool. Sam. All right. Oh, he is. Thank you. Good to have you with us, SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. Tuesday edition of the show. Sam Yarnell is hanging out with me for the hour. And for those who missed the news earlier in the show, Sam, we actually announced it last night on the show. Sam Yarnell will be the new sidekick on the show starting August 28th. Be hanging out with us Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. So I said, come hang out with us for an hour tonight. Why not? So welcome to the show, Sam. Glad to have you with us tonight. And glad to have this guy with us, the great Jason Cole, Outkick.com senior NFL writer. He's also a Hall of Fame selector, and he joins us on the show. So I want to invite you into this conversation, Jason, because I said I was talking about the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers, not situation, but the fact that he had a bad practice today. And it just kind of led me into this kind of stream of thought of players with the player with the most pressure on them this season. And a lot of people would say the obvious, it's got to be Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, man, he might be like 9th or 10th on the list if we're talking about guys with actual pressure on them to do something this year. If you were to pick a guy or guys that you think have the most pressure on them this year, how far down the list would Aaron Rodgers go, and who would you put at the top of that list?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is pretty high on that list, if not number one, because he's put. Look, this is arguably one of the 3 or 4 greatest passers of all time, right? He's there with the likes of Marino and Montana and Brady in terms of physical skill. He's got one title, and that was over a decade ago. And he's been one of the most sour human beings, for most of that decade, and essentially forced his way out of Green Bay, just like his predecessor. And he's in New York, with a team that has, glorious expectations. I don't know that it gets much bigger pressure-wise than being in New York with a team that hasn't won a title since Joe Willie.
But see it. Maybe
right? But who would you put? I mean, is Tua under pressure?
No.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing. Maybe I'm rationalizing. Maybe I'm rationalizing this too much.
Who would you have ahead of him?
Dak Prescott.
I mean, Dak Prescott's not that. He's not that good. Like Dak Prescott's not going to the Hall of Fame.
But he's paid he's that good.
No, he's not. He's just paid like he's a starting quarterback.
But wait a second. You just said, but Aaron Rodgers is already going to the Hall of Fame. He's already had a Hall of Fame career, and I know the Super Bowl was a while ago, but he already has a Super Bowl. And if they suck, it's just the Jets, and they suck again. They could screw up a ham sandwich. Everybody will say that. I don't know. I think you can look at it.
Right, but if you're talking about Dak, what pressure does he have on him when we all know the problem is the owner?
I think. Well, look, you asked me for guys. Dak is one of them. Russell Wilson's another.
Russell Wilson. Yeah, I mean, but those guys just aren't in the echelon. Like Tom Brady. I mean, not Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers spent most of the last 10 years in Green Bay, being irked by the fact that Tom Brady had way more Super Bowls than him. And, was constantly on Ted Thompson or Brian Gutekunst, to say, get me guys. And when they didn't, he decided to go for the money, and he changed the arc of his career. And now he's changed the arc of his career again. I mean, Russell Wilson, yeah, there's pressure on him to come back, but is anybody really truly expecting him to be good? I think it's a 50-50. People will just look at it and say, okay, well, he came to the end of his career and it's thud. Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott, rearrange the letters in his name and you get Danny White and Tony Romo, right? Just, guys who are just, good quarterbacks who happen to be considered way better than they are because they play for the Cowboys, right? So I just don't see it on Dak. I mean, there's obviously some pressure goes with it, but Dak's gonna produce some stats that are gonna look good. They're gonna win enough games. If they decide to part ways with him, he's gonna make a ton of money from somebody else because he's, probably a slightly better version of Kirk Cousins. and guys like that get paid. To me, guys under pressure, Kyle Shanahan under a huge amount of pressure, Mike McCarthy under a huge amount of pressure, right? I think Tua Tagovailoa is under a huge amount of pressure to finally emerge. Justin Herbert is under a huge amount of pressure.
He's on my list.
But
yeah.
But if you don't, along with the rest of the quarterbacks, like Josh Allen, like, did you see like Buffalo's window of opportunity?
Yes,
might start to close, especially for a guy. Because I've made this point about other quarterbacks who run a lot. Whether it's Lamar Jackson or whether it was Cam Newton, right? Guys who run as much as Josh Allen don't last in this league. And he might just break that code, but this is over 100 years of this league, and nobody has survived doing it that way long term.
Yeah, Josh Allen on my list too. He was near the top on my list too. Go ahead, Sam.
But Aaron Rodgers is playing in New York, and he went from Green Bay to gangrene, and he's gonna end up with gangrene if they don't produce. It was a terrible one.
Jason, I wanted to. So when we were going through that discussion, you mentioned Josh Allen, and we talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson. I'm curious from your perspective, who do you think has more pressure on them? Josh Allen, you mentioned the window closing. We all know the big contract that the Bills gave him last offseason, 2 off seasons ago maybe. But Lamar Jackson, after the holdout, after the false trade request,
he didn't hold out. Yeah,
and they're both kind of similar in that they both favor their legs. Obviously, I think Josh Allen, we can all agree, it's a little bit better of a passer than Lamar Jackson, but Lamar's obviously got the MVP and Josh doesn't. Who do you think has more pressure this year with the team's success?
I think by far it's Josh Allen, because he's the better player, and he's with a team that's a better team that has been within a whisker of making it to the Super Bowl the last couple of years, right? And there's an expectation in Buffalo that they're finally going to get there. In Baltimore, there's expectation, but they've won titles in Baltimore, and they've won them fairly recently. So, and I think that there are a lot of people, knowledgeable football people, who look at it and go, okay, Lamar Jackson's a really good player, and he can win you a lot of games in the regular season. But we see the flaws, and the flaws are pronounced enough that it will take some things falling into place for them to win a title with Lamar Jackson, versus the road is paved for Josh Allen. Like, what you have to do is you have to produce as a quarterback, and you have to get past Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, if at least one, if not both, in the playoffs. But that's your job. You have to make those plays. And look, he got incredibly close, right, 2 years ago to beating Kansas City. It just didn't happen.
I only got about a minute here. I don't like my incumbent, the guy that's going to be the starting quarterback for me, and Anthony Richardson, to be shocked when he's named the team's QB1. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to be humble and make Gardner Minshew feel good, but I want the guy to own it and be like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm the starting quarterback. I should have been.
I think we're playing pop psychologist right now, Paige. That's all I got to say on that one. Look, he can be surprised or not. I'll say this. I'm surprised that they gave it to him. And maybe it's to acquiesce to the owner. And they know that he's going to take his lumps early in the season. And if things go bad, they fall back on Gardner Minshew, and that's fine, right? This kid needs to get out and play. I mean, what did he throw? 318 passes in college or something like that. I mean, it's like the second lowest figure in the history of a first round draft pick, or at least, I'm sorry, in the last 23 years, right? He needs to play.
No, I agree.
Because and I hope that kid's great, because he went to the same high school as my two sons.
I love it.
But
I love it.
Yeah, but he hadn't played.
I agree. That's Jason Cole. He's the author of Shut Up, Your Kid Is Not That Great. Go get it in your favorite bookstore. Jason, I'll talk to you next week. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Anytime.
Perfect. We timed that out. Perfect. Nope. That was literally right. It just worked out perfect.
Yeah, I know. That was wild. I heard him say that. I was like, whoa, dude.
It's all right. I mean, we're buddies, so it doesn't bother me.
I know, but I don't know. I don't think that it's pop psychology.
I don't think it is either. I don't think it is either.
To not want the first round, 8th overall quarterback to be surprised when his number is called. Dude.
Me? What, me?
Stupidest thing.
He's younger than you, isn't he? I think. Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson. Let's find out.
I think he's younger than you. Are you wearing a Vineyard Vine shirt?
I am. Real white boy hours.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He's so much younger than me, Jason.
How much younger? Is he 20?
He's born in 2002, so he is a year and a half younger than me. He's 21.
But he is 21. Okay. He's legal to drink.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if he wasn't.
So generally the last segment of the hour, I like to do sort of funnier kicker stuff. The Zuckerberg thing I want to get to, and I actually got something really funny because you're wearing AirPods, right? Yes. I've actually got a really funny AirPods anecdote to tell you that's kind of come up today. Actually, hold on. I got to go grab mine. Hold on. I'm also jealous that Sam has a better backdrop. Sam has a better backdrop than me. And he's literally in his like childhood bedroom.
My childhood bedroom is pretty freaking sick, dude. I got the Kanye West cover. I got the game used NFL football. I got the Josh Allen cereal. The Taylor Hall Sabres jersey. Find someone else with one of those.
Like I worked at this
like half a season.
I worked at this, and this is just your normal your backdrop. Like I worked at mine.
This is just random shit I have in my room.
I have something very cool coming to my backdrop, but I don't want to say what it is because not even my husband knows what it is.
Well, who signed the basketball and the football behind you?
The basketball is Patrick Ewing. The football is Eric Dickerson, and then on the other side of it is Christian Okoye and another Hall of Famer, Ed Reed.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What football team? Are you a Giant fan?
Grew up a Giant fan. Hold on, we're coming back.
Continues on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Mike's out.
Sam Yarnell, our guest for the second hour of the show, hanging out with us. You'll be able to hear Sam every night on the show beginning August 28th. That's when we premiere year 2 of the cash-in here on SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app, all of our video streaming platforms as well. Thanks to Jason Cole, who called me a pop psychologist That's the first time I think anybody's ever called me that before.
It was awesome. I was so honored to be here for it.
It was pretty funny. So every time I think this Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg story can't get weirder, it does. So now we've gotten to a point. So yesterday, Zuck basically said, the fight's off. It's not going to happen. And now you've got Elon playing the role of like that teenage kid who's like, chicken, buck, 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 buck. Like, that's essentially what you have these two grown men. That's essentially what it's come down to now between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg is you're chicken, buck, buck, buck. So today, the latest in this is Elon Musk is now sharing private text message exchanges he's had with Mark Zuckerberg regarding this possible fight, this kind of UFC style match that the two of them are going to have. So, excuse me, Elon posted a exchange between them, a text message exchange between the two of them, in which basically, Elon said, want to do a practice bout at your house next week? And to that, Mark Zuckerberg said, if you still want to do a real MMA fight, then you should train on your own and let me know when you're ready to compete. I don't want to keep hyping something that will never happen, so you should either decide you're going to do this and do it soon, or we should move on. And now you've got Elon basically calling him out. Everybody, listen, I think Zuckerberg would wipe the mat with him. I know Elon's got some size on him, but he's also like 12 years older. I think Mark Zuckerberg, pardon my French, I think he'd F him up. I think he would hurt him bad. So I don't know if this is something Elon wants to do. I've seen the videos of Mark Zuckerberg like training with real UFC athletes, and the dude looks legit. You don't look convinced. You're shaking your head. You don't look convinced.
It's not that. My thing is, Jason, who cares?
A lot of people
Who cares?
I got news for you. This thing would do 1 million pay-per-view buys in an instant. It might do 2 million.
And I think that is the problem in and of itself. Like, oh my God, that's where we're at as a society, that we want to watch a combat sport between these two random billionaires. Come on.
See, you're too young.
Thing ever. I can't believe books are wasting time booking it. Wait a minute. Books actually have odds on this? I believe in Canada they do.
Of course in Canada they would. See, to me, it's kind of reminiscent. It's like a real life celebrity death match. Like they used to have on MTV or VH1 back in the day, when you'd have like claymation characters, celebrities, like fighting each other. This is kind of the real life version of it. So to me, I would sign up for that. Charles, would you sign up for that? See, Charles would sign up for it. Charles would watch. I think Charles would get into it.
Something's wrong.
What'd you say?
It's booked.
It is booked where?
In Australia.
It's booked in Australia.
Not Canada.
Okay.
Zuckerberg. The books agree with you. Yeah. Zuckerberg is minus 160.
Only minus 160? Wait a minute. Even Charles said only 160?
Are you laying it? Are you both laying it?
Oh my God. I will absolutely lay the 160. I thought it would be more like 250 if I had to guess. Elon's going to get destroyed in that fight. Seriously, Elon's going to get messed up. Have you looked at Elon? And I'm not saying, look, I mean, I pay it's $7.99 a month for my blue check mark, so he ain't coming after me. But, I mean, come on.
Oh, I cannot believe that someone got paid real money to create odds on that fight. Someone got paid real money. Yep. That was their job that day, was to create odds. And it's still probably their job to monitor it, to see if the lines move. Oh my God.
And then Elon, if he's smart, will bet like $1 billion on Zuckerberg, and then he'll take a fall in the match and he'll still make money. There you go. Just saying, man. So
and then he'll put the sports books out of business and create his own sports book and call it X book.
That's the whole idea. So I got a funny story. Anybody watching the show right now is going to notice that Sam wears AirPods when he does the show. So he's wearing AirPods. So I'm going to tell you something funny. We just moved into a new apartment. Husband and I moved into a new place about 2.5 miles from where we used to live in beautiful Palm Springs, California. 110 degrees today here, by the way. And so the story is we got like $100 a month break on the place we're in. And when we asked why it was less, the woman who showed us the place said, oh, because somebody just died peacefully in this unit. Before, the last person that was here died peacefully in the unit. And we were like, oh, I don't care. As long as they died peacefully, I'm fine, whatever. So we we moved in here on Saturday. This is a true story. We moved in here on Saturday. Charles, you got to follow this, all right? We moved in here on Saturday, and my husband was doing the first load of laundry in the washer. And as he was doing the laundry, he pulled out of the washer this pair of AirPods, still in the case, and in this thing. And I sat there and said to myself, "Is this the dead person's AirPods?" And if they are,
unequivocally.
Should I
just like to interject with that? They are definitely dead people's AirPods in your hands right now.
Would you keep the AirPods? What do I do with them? Can I repair them?
That's a moral dilemma that I am not licensed to deal with.
What would you do if you moved into a place and the deceased person's AirPods were still there? They're AirPods. It's not like they're cheap. I'm cheap, but it's not like they're cheap.
And I just want to make this clear for the listeners. They're not just AirPods. They're AirPods Pro.
Is that what these are? See, I didn't even know these. These are the good ones. Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. See, they're the nice ones. Like you wouldn't be a fool to keep them. I don't know what I do, Jason. I don't every time I turn up my music, I think, I wonder if this is a song that the dead person ever listened to.
Charles, would you keep them or would you ditch them?
When I find good things, I deliberately choose not to thought about how it came to me. Like 2 weeks ago, I found a gas card that had $30 on it. And I just didn't even think about why was it left there? Who needed it? I didn't think about any of that. I was like, oh, it's here. Let me move on with my life.
See, you just took it. You didn't think, poor sucker who this might have been his last $30 of gas. It's mine now. Finders keepers. Doesn't matter if the person died in this place or not. I don't even know if they died in the room that I'm doing the show in.
What if they died wearing the AirPods?
And then they somehow wound up in the washer? I mean, I don't know.
They were trying to clean them off, obviously.
I cleaned them thoroughly. I have not worn them yet. I'm trying to figure out how to pair them, like sync them up with my iPhone because
hold the button on the back of I'll teach you offline, but there's a button on the back of the case. You hold it, it shows up. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, so far I haven't been able to do it. I tried watching some videos. I'm like an old person. I'm like a geriatric. How do I make these AirPods work, Sonny?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm keeping them. I'm gonna hold on to these things for all they're worth.
Damn you all to hell!
It's possible. It's possible. Sam Yarnell joins the show August 28th. Monday the 28th will be his first day on the show full time. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe by then I will.
I'm gonna go on vacation until then.
Are you? You going on vacation?
No, not actually.
No, okay. I went on a vacation. I came back with COVID. It was great. I did. I went on this cruise to Alaska. I went on this cruise. I came back with COVID. For the third time in my life, I've got COVID.
Oh my God. I've never gotten it.
Well, that you know of. You may have had it and don't know it.
Right.
Because the second time I had it
on, and that's why I never got it again.
Second time I got it, I was asymptomatic. I only found out because I tested because somebody close to me had it.
20.
Well, that's going to do it for this hour of the show. Sam, it was fun. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
10.
Another hour of the cash and final hour is right around the corner on SportsMap Radio. Don't go anywhere. That was fun, dude.
You want to learn the secret to become
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Jason, thank you. Charles, thank you. I cannot wait to get started.
Yeah, me too.
Such a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. All right, Sam, have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Call right now.
Thanks, man. Get some sleep later.
Personal consultant who will help you through the entire book publishing and design process. Then your book goes. It gets promoted, distributed.
It won't be able to work like that because I'm hearing like the feedback.
Book idea, call Dorrance Publishing right now for a free consultation.
That's too bad.
We'll help get your great idea out of your head.
I'm not sure
paper,
how to fix
printed,
that.
And sold. It's a free, easy call.
Not sure how
We're
to fix
trusted
it.
by thousands
Outside of having a
authors just
second
like
separate
you.
computer
So don't wait another day. Call
that
now.
handles
800
the video feed only,
1362.
I don't know that there's a way.
847 1362.
It's
800
yeah.
487
I don't know.
1362.
If you're
Final hour of a Tuesday/Wednesday edition of the show. Good to have you with us. SportsMap Radio. the SportsMap radio app. Boy, that was fun. That was a lot of fun tonight. Hanging out with Sam Yarnell on the show. I can't wait. I can't wait to have him doing this with us full-time Monday through Friday. I really can't. I'm really excited about bringing him in and having him as part of the team. I think he's a natural. I think he's got nothing but an upward trajectory going his way, and I'm looking forward to adding him to the show. So that is Sam Yarnell. He joined us in the second hour of the show. By the way, hello to our friends in Dallas. I forgot to say hello to you tonight. Listening on 97.1 The Freak, you join us for hours 2 and 3 of the show. Good to have you all aboard with us. The question of the night, which NFL quarterback or which NFL player has the most pressure on them for the upcoming season? Which NFL player has the most pressure on them for the upcoming season? I think I would argue it's either Dak Prescott, and if not Dak Prescott, then it's probably Russell Wilson. But I think there's a number of guys in the conversation. Josh Allen is obviously in the mix. For sure, I would definitely say Josh Allen is in the conversation. Sam thinks Mac Jones, which I think is kind of interesting. Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson's got... I mean, look, you cannot go and make the scene that he made in the offseason. You cannot make the scene that he made in the offseason and then, go out there this year, go, 10-7, losing the first game of the, losing a wild card matchup. You can't lose wild card weekend after you've done all this if you're Lamar Jackson, especially when that team went and got OBJ. Assuming he's the OBJ that he was before he got hurt, that he's the Odell Beckham Jr. before he got hurt. I mean, it's a big excuse that's taken away from Lamar Jackson about, Super Bowl MVP pretty much, yeah. But I guess we'll see. I'm just looking at something. San Francisco beat Tampa Bay tonight 7-0. Boy, I'll tell you, the wild card races are getting fun. I'll tell you, listen, Major League Baseball hasn't gotten a lot of things right. I think Rob Manfred is just Mr. Magoo. I wouldn't pick him to organize a bar mitzvah, let alone, run Major League Baseball. But the 3 wild cards, it's gonna create a lot of excitement down the stretch. But if you actually think about it, look at the divisions. This is the first year that I can honestly say we're what, 2 weeks from September, and outside of the NL East, NL East and NL West, 4 of the 6 divisions are still very competitive. Baltimore's up 4 on the Tampa Bay Rays in the AL East. Minnesota's only up 4 on Cleveland in the AL Central. I still think Cleveland is a bargain in the sports books right now. With only 4 games back. Let me see what the number is. See what the current number is on Cleveland. I love the Guardians. Cleveland is plus 800 to win the AL Central. They're 4 games back, and I think they have another at least 4 games, if not 3, against Minnesota to play. That's Terry Francona. That's a team that knows how to win. I'm just kind of treading water right now. I know they're 4 games under 500. It sounds crazy to say. Yeah, they can win the division. They're 4 games back. Texas is only 4 up on Houston. I mean, the entire American League, every division, every pennant in the American League is up for grabs right now. Houston lost tonight, I believe, to Miami. And Houston is 69-52. Texas is 72-48. I'll tell you, there has been no more of a wake-up call for me regarding the Astros. And people are going to say this is nuts when they've won World Series and all this stuff. This job that Dusty Baker's done with this team this year is the most impressive of all. And it's finally affirming to me what so many have already said about where this organization is and where the Yankees are and why the Astros are so much better than the Yankees. And it pains me to say that as a Yankee fan, but you got to own it, right? You got to own it. Houston lost Yordan Alvarez, Altuve. They've had pitchers up the wazoo injured. They're 69-52. They're 4 games out. They're certainly in a firm grasp of one of the wild card spots. Yankees have had similar type of injuries. They've folded like a cheap suit. They're 60-60, and I think they're 5 or 6 out now in the wild card of the third wild card. So to me, this managerial job that Dusty Baker has done with this team this year, I mean, think about this. They won a World Series last year. If any team had an excuse to take a mulligan and say, you know what? Just not our year. Just not our season. We struggled. Had a bunch of injuries. Some key guys got hurt. Jose Abreu had a slow start. Martin Maldonado sucks. I mean, you could have gone any way you wanted. Altuve hurt to start the year. Was he injured in the World Baseball Classic? I think he was. Hit in the hand. Yordan Alvarez is yearly sabbatical on the injury list. He always winds up hurt for some portion of the season. I love Yordan Alvarez. He's one of the best pure hitters in baseball. I love him. God knows I got a lot of his valuable rookie cards. But nothing. Oh yeah, I've got some great. I have very few graded baseball cards. Yordan Alvarez is actually one of the guys that I have graded rookie cards of, like PSA 10s. Yeah. I actually decided when Yordan was a rookie to make him a PC. So I have what is called a PC of him. So I've probably got, 50 or 60 ungraded varying rookie cards of his. Yeah, I got a whole collection of Yordan. Yeah. And honestly, if the right person came along and wanted to buy them, I'd probably sell them to somebody who was a bigger fan than I am. But in the meantime, it's a great collection to have. Oh, I don't care what they do with it, but if somebody's a big enough fan and wanted to buy them, you could tell when somebody's a fan versus when somebody's just trying to flip them for a profit. I've been in this game long enough that I kind of know the difference between the two. But I've got so much Yordan. I've got so many Yordan rookie cards. I actually had a great auto of his that I got rid of during his rookie season, which I kind of regret. But I got a ton of Yordan rookie stuff that, varying degrees of value. Problem is, until a guy like wins an MVP, it's kind of tough. And I don't know if he'll ever win an MVP as long as Shohei is in the American League, which sounds nuts, Plus, he can't stay healthy too, which is a problem. You would think so, but not really. I've got a ton of his stuff, and not really. It's not as much as you would. It's not as much as you would think it would be, but I love it, and I'll hang on to it. Got plenty of Yordan stuff. But you go and look. Seattle is still very much in the mix. Heck, Seattle's only 7.5 out in the AL West. They're not going to win it, but NL Central, Milwaukee's up 4 on the Cubs, which is really one of the. We were talking about the Reds for so long. Reds and Cubs are both 4 games back of Milwaukee in the NL Central right now. That's going to be a fun race to the finish. And then San Francisco 64-56. They're 8.5 behind the Dodgers, but they're very much in the mix for the wild card. And then you start looking at the wild card races. Tampa Bay, Houston, and Toronto are your 3 wild cards in the American League. Seattle's a game back of Toronto for the 3rd wild card. Boston's 2 back of Toronto for the wild card, and the Yankees are 6 back of Toronto for the wild card. You're basically talking about a 5-team race right now. I can't even put the Yankees in the wild card conversation anymore. Do you know how hard that is for me to say? Can you feel my pain right now? Do you know how much it pains me to say the Yankees are not even in the wild card race right now? Not at 6 back with 42 games to play. In theory, they are, because they still got a bunch of games left with Boston and Toronto. In theory, they are. But in theory, I could also walk out of this condo tonight and get a scratch-off ticket and win $1 million. It's not going to happen. Just put me in a bad mood. We're coming back. It's the cash-in. Man. Need to go down. I saw that in the freezer tonight. How is it?
I love it.
Apparently Dookie wants some. Oh, interesting. The salt.
It makes it very easy to go down. You're like, oh, if it's very sweet, you feel like, oh, this is very rich. It didn't poo-poo. Who didn't poo-poo? I didn't poo-poo. Who did not eat Dookie? I will not eat Dookie. Who didn't have poo-poo? I will have poo-poo. Friday is only Uncle Derek home, even though Levi not coming along for the trip. Derek will say, I need a break from Levi.
Aww.
I feel the same. I need a break from the Dookie.
Wow. Really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like the caramel bits?
Put these two on the floor. So funny. Give me one more scoop before I go back on the air. It's so good.
I brushed it today, but I kept brushing and more hair just kept coming off.
And just gotta keep going until it stops. One more. These are the good AirPods, by the way.
Yeah, I know. There's the AirPods Pro with the active noise cancelling. But we can't get them to work.
So far, I haven't.
I tried pressing and holding the button so many times.
Wow. Wow. Mariners rally. Get up off the mat tonight. Get on up. Get up now. Get on up. Mariners down tonight to the Royals No, I'm sorry. Seattle was up 7-0. Seattle was up 7-0. KC scored 5 in the 5th to make it 7-5. Seattle scored 1 in the 7th to make it 8-5. KC scored 3 in the 9th to bottom of the 9th to tie the game. Wow. Matter of fact, here's the call. Here's how the Royals tied it tonight.
And Salvi gets it over shortstop. Here comes Junior. And Blanco is going to be out at third without a slide. But the run will score. Home plate umpire DJ Rayburn confirmed the run scores. But Dyrone Blanco slowed down and didn't slide into third base.
Oh, come on. Really?
How great is the end of that call? Come on, really? So that tied the score at 8. And then the Mariners, after coughing up the lead.
Up the middle, and it's into center field. Marlowe is in to score. Caballero, he rushes home, and he scores standing. Ty France with 2 outs in the top of the 10th. A go-ahead 2-run base hit, and it's 10-8 Mariners.
And they win it by that final, 10-8. Mariners get the win. That is your final. By the way, Bobby Witt Jr. in this game, a grand slam for Kansas City. So they rally only to come up short. Win for the Mariners, who, again, just continue to hang around. They are 1 behind Toronto. I don't think those teams play each other again this year. I'd be thoroughly surprised if that's the case. Seattle's got a big weekend series coming up with Houston. 3-game series on the road in Houston. This is part of a 9-game road trip. 9-game? 10-game. 10-game road trip for Seattle. 4 in Kansas City, 3 in Houston, 3 in Chicago against the White Sox. Let's see. Seattle. Do they play Toronto at all again this year? No, they will not play Toronto again this year. So, but you got to think they're certainly right there and have an opportunity. Boy, I'll tell you, I had the Mariners buried for dead. I'll be the first. I've said it before. I had to do all sorts of mea culpas on the Mariners. I had them dead and buried, and here they are now, very much in the mix as far as the AL wild card goes. But really, like I said before, it's a 5-team race in the American League right now for those 3 wild card spots. Tampa Bay at 72 and 50, Houston at 69 and 52, Toronto at 67 and 54. And again, Tampa Bay, the reality is this. Tampa Bay could basically play 500 baseball over the last 6 weeks, and unless something extraordinary happens behind them, they're still going to wind up with one of these 3 wild card spots. I know the loss of Wander Franco seems like it's catastrophic, but in terms of the regular season, it's really not. And I said it last night on the show, and I'll say it again. Wander Franco should not be... If he's back in a Rays uniform again this year, then somebody in Major League Baseball needs to have their heads examined. Because there's no way their investigation gets done before the folks in the Dominican Republic. I said that last night on the show, and I'll say it again. A National League wild card, just to put a bow on this wild card talk. National League wild card is Philadelphia number 1 at 65 and 55. San Francisco 64 and 56 is the second wild card. And Miami, despite a win tonight, is tied in the loss column with the Cubs, 58 losses. But Miami is technically the third wild card. Cubs with the same number of losses but less wins is basically even with them. And Cincinnati is just a game behind them. Arizona is just 2 games behind. So you've basically got a 6-team race. And if we want to say 5 is the cutoff, then San Diego. So you'd have 7 teams for 3 spots. San Diego's going to need a lot of help, though, and they've lost 8 out of 10. In fact, nobody in that National League wildcard race is really making an effort to run away with it. Philadelphia's won 6 of 10. San Francisco's lost 7 of 10. Miami's played 500 ball over their last 10, as have the Cubs. And the Reds are finally starting to fade a little bit after being a feel-good story for much of the season with Ellie De La Cruz sort of spearheading the effort there. Cincinnati's dropped 7 of 10. Arizona's dropped 7 of 10. San Diego's dropped 8 of 10. Everybody in the National League sucks. Outside of the division leaders, Milwaukee's won 7 of 10. The Dodgers have won 9 of 10. If you're wondering why the divisions look the way they do in the National League, this is why. The only teams winning right now are the division leaders. Kind of remarkable. And again, Atlanta, best record in baseball at 77-42. They're a shoo-in for 100 wins right now. And World Series odds, they are plus 290 right now on FanDuel, the unofficial sports book of the Cash In. Unofficial, why? They're not paying us. Atlanta plus 290 right now to win the World Series. The Dodgers are plus 350. Houston at plus 550. The Rangers at plus 800. Isn't this something? Houston has better odds to win the World Series than the Rangers, and the Rangers are actually still winning the AL West. No respect for the Rangers. None. Tampa Bay is plus 1,000, which I think is highly overvalued. I don't think Tampa Bay has a chance in hell to win. And I said that before the Wander Franco incident that is being investigated. Orioles at plus 1,200. I still love them there. I think the team with the second best record in baseball is plus 1,200 to win the World Series. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts to me how little respect Baltimore's getting. I mean, 120 games isn't enough of a sample for you to know how good the Baltimore Orioles are. The Phillies are plus 1,900. Toronto is plus 2,100. The Twins at 2,600. The Mariners at 3,300. The Giants at 3,500. The Brewers are winning the NL Central right now. They're going to wind up probably winning that division. And Milwaukee is plus 3,900 to win the World Series. $100 on the Brewers to win 3,900 right now. How many times do we see a team just get hot at the right time in the post? Look, I know people are going to say the Braves and the Dodgers are way, elevated way above any other team that's going to be in the playoffs out of the National League. How'd that work out for the Dodgers last year? Let me know. Line 1, San Diego, hello. Just, we've seen great teams with amazing 162-game regular seasons that crumble when you get to the playoffs because good pitching is going to beat good hitting. By the way, the Yankees now, you ready for this one, Charles? Oh, my God. Ready for this? I almost want to go and put $100 on the Yankees. Do you know what the odds on the Yankees to win the World Series is right now? I know, it would be throwing money away. It would literally be burning money. I would be better off just taking a $100 bill, a Benjamin Franklin, and Benjamin Franklin on the 100? No. And I said, is Benjamin Franklin? Hey, Google, who's on the $100 bill?
According to Wikipedia, the United States $100 bill is a denomination of United States currency. The first United States
really?
With this
I'm going to get the history of the $100 bill.
And the Federal Reserve note version was first produced in 1914.
Hey, Google, stop! Heavens. It is Benjamin Franklin. Thank you. Can I hook? I actually didn't believe you. I know. We got to work on our relationship. I know. It's a trust thing. But it would literally be like burning a $100 bill. The Yankees to win the World Series right now, Charles, plus 11,000. 11,000. We're coming back. I don't know why I was thinking it was like Andrew Jackson or something. Usually I'm good with stupid stuff like that. Andrew Jackson is definitely on something. What bill? Yes. He might be the 50. Is Georgia? No. Only if it's in the first hour. Andrew Jackson's on the 20. But Harriet Tubman is supposed to be replacing. I thought, yeah, that's been going on for a while, aren't they? Who is on? Actually, we're going to have some fun with this on the other side. We're going to have some fun with this. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with this. I got something pretty cool for this next segment on this. Yeah. All right, so at the end of the last segment, credit to our producer, engineer extraordinaire, Charles Carter, I asked who was on the $100 bill, and when he said it was Benjamin Franklin, I questioned it and went and asked my Google Home speaker, and she confirmed long-windedly later that it was indeed Benjamin Franklin that was on the $100 bill. And as I got to doing this, it made me wonder who's on the others. Obviously, the $1 bill is George Washington. Do you know who's on the $2 bill, Charles Carter? Thomas Jefferson. You know who's on the 5? Come on. Come on. The $5 bill, I mean, it's one of the most common ones. Even you have one of those. Come on. I mean, if you go to strip clubs, you got to have a 5. What are you, just stuffing singles down there? Making them work for a single. You can't see a $5 face. I almost want to hold the phone up to the screen so you could look. Look at the screen. Look at the video on the show, which is delayed. You look at the video on the screen right now, and you tell America who is on the $5 bill, because I almost feel insulted that I have to tell people who's on the $5 bill, because you should know this. Come on. Honest Abe cannot tell a lie. Alexander Hamilton. If you had given me all day, I wouldn't have come up with that. Who remembers Hamilton? Yeah. I never saw it. I know. There we go. Oh my God. Our landlady, tell you a funny story. Our landlady, the woman who owned the condo that we just moved out of, not the one that died in this place, but our old landlady. Well, she did. Somebody died in this place. Well, I think I don't even know. Anyway, she saw Hamilton. I think she said 7 or 8 times she'd seen Hamilton. I've never seen it once. If you had given me 100 guesses, I would have never said you had gone to see a musical. Never would. I've seen Phantom of the Opera. You know, I've seen a few shows. I've seen Wicked. No. Nope. Hamilton is not. Nope. Sorry. I'm good. You know who's on the 20? Oh, I did. And I said who was on the 10. I wouldn't have gotten it. Alexander Hamilton. Yeah, Andrew Jackson's on the 20. On the 50, Ulysses S. Grant. And then on the 100, Benjamin Franklin. But here's where it gets interesting. Did you know there used to be a $500 bill? It's no longer in circulation. It was discontinued in 1969 because of lack of use. It's true. $500 bill. On the $500 bill was William McKinley. It was last printed in 1945, but the Treasury says Americans continue to hold on to it. So there are Americans that actually have a $500 bill. That would be some bragging rights. You want a humble brag? Pull a $500 bill out of your wallet. That would impress me. Yes, it'd be like one of those fake funny bills, you know? Absolutely. And he's one of, that's right. McKinley was assassinated in 1901. Yeah. The more you know. Yes. There was a $1,000 bill last printed in 1945 as well. And there are Americans that still have this one. $1,000 bill is Grover Cleveland. Notice it's all old white guys that are on all the bills, by the way. Grover Cleveland is on the $1,000 bill. And there was a $5,000 bill See, I'm giving you all sorts of knowledge. James Madison was on the $5,000 bill, which also stopped in 1945. Madison? I don't know. Not sure if Madison's on a coin. And then there was there were two more. There was a $10,000 bill. Salmon P. Chase. Salmon. Yeah. He was a one-time Treasury Secretary, appears on the $10,000 bill, was first printed in 1918. Fed and the Treasury discontinued the $10,000 bill in 1969. There are Americans that still have that. Could you imagine having a bill in your pocket that's worth 10 large? Wow. And the last one, yes, there is a $100,000 bill. If I find out this article was a lie, by the way, I'm going to be really mad that I just spent a whole segment on this. There was a $100,000 bill. It was known as a gold certificate, was only used by the Federal Reserve banks, was never circulated among the general public. In fact, the $100,000 bill was not considered legal tender outside of those Fed transactions. If you're holding on to one, chances are it's worth more than $1 million to collectors. So a $100,000 bill is actually worth $1 million. No, it's real. Mm-hmm. Yeah. $100,000 bill on it is Woodrow Wilson. Yeah. Woodrow Wilson is on the 100. See, we're talking cash on the cash in. Cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out. Yeah, yeah. See? Yeah. See, I thought Harriet Tubman was supposed to replace somebody on the, like Andrew Jackson on the 20, but they've been talking about that for a while. I guess it just hasn't come to fruition for... Yeah, that's true. Top of the ninth, Padres lead the Orioles 10-3. So the O's are actually going to lose a game. Padres 10-3 on the Orioles as they play in the top of the ninth. So that one, actually, matter of fact, that is now a wrap. It's final. 10-3. Padres win it tonight at Petco Park. Big night for Fernando Tatis Jr. He had 3 hits. Gary Sanchez, 2 for 4 with a grand salami. Yep. So Padres still hanging around, I guess you could say, in that wild card race out there in the National League. They're not officially dead yet. And that's it. Everything else is a final tonight. Everything else is a wrap. Battle of division leaders tonight. Dodgers beat the Brewers 6-2. 5 in the 6th for the Dodgers was the deciding factor in that one. What's Mookie doing this year? I'm just kind of curious. I haven't looked at Mookie's number. Mookie's hitting .289. He had 2 hits and an RBI tonight. Mookie's got 81 runs driven in this year. Good stuff. The text line is open, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. If you want to hit us up on the text line, feel free, shoot us a note there. Before we go tonight, there's been another departure at ESPN. Just when you thought they were done cleaning house. But this one is not really somebody being laid off per se. This is someone that's basically done everything they can to self-sabotage their own career. And they will no longer be at the worldwide leader. We'll get to that coming up in a couple of minutes. And I wanted to get to this story last night, and I didn't get the chance. How I know the WNBA is getting better every day. How do you know? I'll play it for you coming up in a couple of minutes. All of that plus the last call as we continue. I'm Jason Page. The cash-in rolls along on this Tuesday/Wednesday on SportsMap Radio. Stay with us. Whole thing. That was fun. I had a lot of fun with him. Yeah, nah, he was me and him. It's amazing for two guys that have really never worked together. We're having some fun. Straight out of Compton. It's on VH1 tonight. Straight out of Compton. Wake up call. You watch UFC, Charles? Yeah, see, I don't. I don't think. I think I stopped watching around 100. I'm dead serious, by the way. Yeah. I think I stopped watching around the time Brock Lesnar was relevant. And then I watched Ronda Rousey, but that was about it. Yeah. Well, she was good until she wasn't. She was great until she wasn't. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But say this for Ronda. She really put the women's MMA on the map. So, I mean, they have to certainly give her due for having done that without question. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I was just thinking about Ronda while I was watching an interview on ESPN with Aljamain Sterling, who's fighting Sean O'Malley in UFC 292, the main event of that event. So, sure. I don't have a problem with it at all. I don't have any issue with it at all. Look, if you can rock the mic and know how to, create promos and do the stuff that needs to be done in WWE, here's the problem. Ronda sucked on the mic. She wasn't good. She wasn't good on the mic when she was in UFC, and she got no better when she went to WWE. They did their best to keep her off the mic because she just wasn't good. It wasn't authentic. The whole Rowdy Ronda Rousey thing and trying to integrate sort of, her love for Rowdy Piper, all of that, Rowdy Piper, all of that stuff was great, but it just never took off really. She got the initial bump when she came in, and she did some cool stuff, putting Triple H through the table was cool and stuff like that. But then once it came down to having to do something other than her in-ring ability, she, metaphorically speaking, she died. And it just wasn't good. And now she's pretty much done. I think her contract is up. I think the loss at SummerSlam to God, what's the woman's name? Another former MMA fighter. It's gonna drive me nuts. I see her. Shayna Baszler. That's it. Shayna Baszler kicked her ass at SummerSlam, and that was the end of it. And I don't think we'll see her again until she gets inducted into the Hall of Fame someday. Yeah, they'll actually put Ronda Rousey in the WWE Hall of Fame someday. I know, which is I know. It's just stupid. It's so stupid, but they'll put her in the WWE Hall of Fame someday. You can count on it. Brian McDonald will cringe when he hears me say that. Oh, yeah. You can count on it. All right. A couple things before we go. One, Sage Steele, good riddance to bad garbage. She's out at ESPN. Now, this was the longest demise that I think we've ever seen for one media personality at a network. When people do a postmortem on the end of Sage Steele at ESPN, maybe they'll do a 30 for 30 on it one day, just how bad it was. So earlier, I guess today or yesterday, they said Sage Steele and ESPN settled out of court a case in which she claimed her First Amendment rights were being violated. So the two sides had this lawsuit. The two sides worked it out, and the settlement was done. And then Sage Steele put out a statement saying, having successfully settled my case with ESPN/Disney, I've decided to leave so I can exercise my First Amendment rights more freely. I mean, really? The only thing left for her is to go join Jason Whitlock at the Blaze. That's about it. And we see where his career's gone since he decided to make that move. She will be toxic. Nobody will touch her outside of far-right media. I'm not even talking like Fox News, which is obviously right of center and considered, far right by some. I mean, I've appeared on Fox News, so it tells you all you need to know. And I'm certainly not far right, but I've appeared on there to talk about sports stories in the past. But ESPN, in talking about Sage Steele leaving, said, quote, ESPN and Sage Steele have mutually agreed to part ways. We thank her for her many contributions over the years. End of statement. In other words, bye, Felicia. That was it. They wanted nothing to do with her. If you don't know the story, after Donald Trump was elected, Sage Steele went into like persecution overload. She went after her own black colleagues at the network. She egged on Clay Travis and a tweet he put out correlating kids shot in Chicago through 2021 with kids who died of COVID to try and minimize the importance of, mask wearing during a pandemic. Wish I had worn one on the cruise. Maybe I wouldn't have wound up with COVID again. Then in 2017, after thousands of protesters of Trump's Muslim ban interrupted the flow of traffic at LAX, she went on Instagram, went on this crusade about the burden they placed on her. Oh my God. They didn't even want other blacks at ESPN didn't even want her to be a part of Black History Month when they had like speaker series and, they have different anchors on ESPN, do things on Black History Month. They didn't even want her to be a part of it. Oh, it gets better. She went on Jay Cutler's podcast in September of 2021, Uncut with Jay Cutler. Yep. Do you know this story? Yeah, I know. Jay Cutler, she went on Jay Cutler's podcast and she said Disney's vaccination mandate was sick and scary. And she said she could not understand why Barack Obama refers to himself as black. Yeah. Then she got suspended. And her on-air assignments basically whittled down to like the late morning sports center that about 4 people are watching, family not included. And now there might be less people that see her than that. Because every one of these sports personalities that drift into like far right-wing propaganda, Britt McHenry, where is she? Jason Whitlock, he's on the Blaze with the most phony human being alive, Glenn Beck. And I could say that because I actually worked with Glenn Beck. Michelle Tafoya, who left a successful career on the sidelines with Sunday Night Football and now does like diatribes on YouTube that have about 35 people that see him. There might be more people watching this show on YouTube than actually watch Michelle Tafoya on YouTube. And that's not saying much because we don't get a lot of viewers on YouTube. Not our biggest platform, let's just say. Unbelievable. Good riddance to bad garbage. Bye, Felicia. Before we go, how I know the WNBA is making it. When their players start yelling at the media during press conferences, you know you've started to make it. It's about damn time we start talking about the WNBA for stuff other than on the court. How boring. Kalia Copper went off on a reporter before abruptly leaving a press conference. I love it. Nothing makes me happier. See, can we find do we have the audio of it? I think we might have the audio of it somewhere. We'll see if I can find it. You just have to take my word for it, though. WNBA is finally getting someplace. You start yelling at reporters, you know the WNBA is like the real deal now. So Kalia Copper went off on a reporter. She was like, "Are you serious?" Basically, that was the response. We'll make that the last call for tonight. It's all right. We don't need to hear from the bartender, do we?
Last call.
Oh, there she is.
Last call.
Wait,
last call.
Uh-huh.
Last call.
That's it. We're done. Thank you to Sam Yarnell. Thank you to Jason Cole. Thank you, Charles Carter, for producing and engineering it. I'm Jason Page. Catch you back here on Wednesday for the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Bye. Have a good night, brother. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye. Nah, not really. We had enough in the first 2 hours. Good. Thanks, man. Does it for us on the video side as well. Why is it 100 degrees in this room? Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of it. I will see you all back here on Wednesday. I think I'm slowly getting better. Still coughing a little, but health-wise getting a little better every day. We'll see. Have yourselves a great night. A terrific Wednesday. We'll see you back here at the end of Wednesday. I'm Jason. Thanks for watching.